Asha. So today let's learn our class 7th NCERT science. So the very first chapter, which is nutrition in plants. So first of all, before entering into the lesson, every living organism needs food. Food is essential for every living organism. Do you agree with me? Yes. So food is essential even for me, and food is essential for you people. Even food is essential for animals, plants, and also for microscopic organisms. So food is essential for all living organisms which sustains in this world. So food is necessary. So before we have the plants. So the plants prepare food by themselves. So plants prepare food by their own. Let's see, let us write down here. Plants prepare food by themselves, right? So here the plants prepare food by themselves. What happens here is the plants which are there, they make food by their own, as we are humans. So we depend upon the food. We can't make the food, or else we can't prepare the food by themselves. So we depend upon others for food. Okay. So let's say the plants prepare the food by themselves. The organisms which prepares food by their own, such type of organisms are called as autotrophs. Autotrophs. Here auto means self and the trophs means nourishment. So the plants which depends upon their own to prepare food, such type of organisms are called as autotrophs. Auto means self, trophs means nourishment, so self-nourishment. And we, the humans and the animals, we depend on others, or else we depend on plants and animals for food. So let's say we have fruits and vegetables. So we need food from plants and animals. We need fruits from plants, right? We eat mango, guava, papaya, banana, etc. So all these fruits which are there, they obtain from the plants. And the animals also gives us the food, such as you have meat, milk, eggs, and ghee, fish, chicken, mutton. All these food items will come from the animals where we eat and where we survive. And yeah, you have so such type of nutrition mode where the human beings, or where the living organisms depends food, or where they depends for food on other organisms. So such type of living organisms are called as heterotrophs. So hetero means so here hetero means other. Hetero means other, trophs means nourishment. So the organisms which depend, let's say I have a lion. So this lion depends on the deer for its prey to eat, and you have the deer which again depends upon the plants to survive, or else to sustain. And yeah, so this is how the animals also depend upon the other organisms. So they also called as heterotrophs because they will not prepare food by themselves. And we, the humans, also the heterotrophs. Here hetero means other, and the plants are autotrophs because they prepare food by themselves. They prepare food by their own. So we are the autotrophs, means self-nourishment. So you have the plants which are autotrophs and the humans we are heterotrophs, or else it falls under the heterotrophic nutrition mode. And the next one is Now my mind, I got stuck. I have a doubt. But how can the plants prepare food by themselves? Yes. Let me clear all of your stuff. So the plants prepare food by themselves by the process called photosynthesis. So the plants prepare food by themselves by the process called photosynthesis. Photo. You have the process called photosynthesis. So this process is called the photosynthesis. Before going to learn the photosynthesis, remember my dear friends, leaf is the food factory of the plant. So leaf is the food factories of the plants. Okay. So we have the photosynthesis process. So how the photosynthesis process further develops is, let's say I have a plant. Let me draw a picture of a plant. So these are roots and you have the stem. You have the stem here. You have the leaves. So what happens here is, let's say I have plant and roots, and we usually pour water to the plants, right? So here this is the soil, my dear friends. You have the minerals and the small nutrients particles. You have the small particles where you have the nutrients or as nutrition. Let's learn before going to this, let's learn what is nutrients. So here you have nutrients. So nutrients are nothing but the components of food. You have carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and vitamins, so on. So vitamins, I made a video on vitamins. I will show you the link description video. But you have all these components of food such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins. All these are components of food. Remember guys, all these things are components of food. So these components of food are called as nutrients. Okay, so carbohydrates, fats, proteins, all these are components of food. So these components of food are called as nutrients. So coming back to the process of photosynthesis, you have the minerals and the water which stays in the soil. So the roots which are there, they absorb, they take in the minerals and the water to the. So what happens here is the roots which are there, they absorb the minerals and nutrients and they transport all these nutrients further to the leaf. So you have different parts of leaves where the minerals and the nutrients go. So this transportation, from where you have the transportation to these minerals and the proteins or some components of food that the roots absorbs and they transports through the tubes. So these tubes you have here. So these tubes are called as vessels. So all these minerals and the proteins, they will transport through the tube. So these tubes are called as vessels. So these tubes are xylem and phloem. We will be coming with the next chapter of xylem and phloem, upcoming chapters. But yeah, you have the vessels. So through these minerals and the nutrients transports through these vessels, and here what happens is these vessels which are there, they further makes to reaches all the leaves. So here you have the leaf. Let me draw here a leaf, the diagram or as the picture of the leaf. Okay, so this leaf has a tiny little pores, very tiny pores, which are more small and more tiny little pores. So these pores which are presented on the surface of the leaves, so these pores are called as stomata. Let's write down here. Stomata. Okay. So stomata. So these stomata helps to take or else inhale the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide means CO2, as we all know. You have carbon dioxide, which the stomata takes carbon dioxide from the air. So it inhales or else it takes in the carbon dioxide from the air. And inside, as you people see, most of the leaves or else the leaves are in green in color, right? So leaves may be in green in color. They will be in green in color. So why? Because each and every leaf has chlorophyll which presented inside the leaf. So let us write down here chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the green pigment. It is in green color, and you have the green pigment called chlorophyll. So this is the chlorophyll one, and this chlorophyll helps to absorb the sun energy. So the energy which obtains from the sun, it helps to capture the energy from the sun. Which helps to capture energy? The chlorophyll, which is called the green pigment, which is presented in the leaf. So it helps to capture the sun energy or the sunlight energy from the sun. And with the reaction or else with the process, with the chemical reaction of this minerals, carbon dioxide and the chlorophyll means sun energy. So you have the food which is prepared in the leaf. So we can call leaf as a food factory of the plant. So this process is called photosynthesis. Let us again revise. So what is the process of photosynthesis? You have a tree, or else you have a plant. These are the roots of the plant, as I said. Yeah, these are the roots of the plant. So inside the soil you have some water particles and the minerals, and the roots help to transport all this water and the mineral particles to reach the leaves. It helps to reach the leaves, and they transport through the tubules or as to the tubes. Yes, they transport to the tubes. Those tubes are called as vessels, and these vessels further reaches to the leaves. Okay, these vessels further reaches to the leaves. So inside the leaves, on the surface of the leaf, you have some stomata where the tiny particles you can see. So these stomata helps to inhale or else take in the carbon dioxide from the air, and you have the chlorophyll, which is the green pigment presented on the leaves. That's why all the leaves around us are green in color. Yeah. So you have the chlorophyll, which is in green pigment, in the pigment of green. So this chlorophyll helps to capture the sunlight energy. So the energy comes from the sun, and you have the food which is prepared in the leaf. So this preparation of food So this process is called as photosynthesis process, and this process is the unique one. And the sun is the ultimate source of energy in this universe. And the next one you have parasite and the host. So let's learn what is parasite. As we learned, the plant prepare food by itself, but there are some plants where they usually take the heterotrophic nutrition mode. Okay, they take the heterotrophic nutrition mode. As we know, nutrients are nothing but the components of food such as carbon dioxide, proteins, fats. So they take the heterotrophic nutrition mode. So such plants are, let's say, the best example is Cascada. So Cascada plant, I have a plant here. This is the soil, and I have a plant here. So this plant is the Cascada plant. It has a yellow willy structure. So this plant is in the color of yellow because so this plant can't prepare food by itself. So why this plant Cascada can't prepare food by its own? Why? Because it should have chlorophyll. It should have certain amount of chlorophyll to prepare or else to capture energy from the sunlight, but it doesn't have, so it is yellow in color. So what happens here is this plant which is there, the Cascada plant, it takes ready-made food from the other plants. Yeah, as we take ready-made food from the trees and the animals. So here the Cascada plant takes ready-made food from the other plants. So here this is the plant of Cascada. Let me draw this Cascada plant in the black in color so for better understanding. Yeah, you have the plant of Cascada plant, and you have the plant which gives food to the Cascada, or else Cascada takes ready-made food from the plant. So here, and this is the plant. And what happens here is this plant, the Cascada plant, climbs on the plant where it is behind or else it is beside. So this Cascada plants climb on the other plant, which so this Cascada plant climbs on the other plant, and it takes ready-made food, the food where this plant makes by itself. So it takes ready-made food from the very strong and the strengthened plant, and the plant which contains chlorophyll. And what happens here is, so this type of nutrition is called as heterotrophic nutrition, where here our Cascada plant is taking food from the plant, this plant which the plant were prepared food by itself. So the plants which takes food from ready-made food from the others, so such type of plants are called as parasites. So these parasites, they can't prepare food by themselves, thus they depend upon the other plants. And the plant on which this Cascada plant climbs, so this plant gives ready-made food to the parasite. So such types of plants are called as host. So this is the host. In this case, you have the host plant which gives food to the Cascada, and the Cascada takes the food from the other. So this is the process of heterotrophic nutrition mode, and this plant which takes food from the other, so such plants are called as parasites, and the plant which gives is called as the host plant. So the plant of host. So understood the process of this Cascada plant which is the parasite. So Cascada is also called as Amarbel, my dear friends. Okay, Amarbel, and you have the host plant. And now let's learn about the insectivorous plants. Yes, my dear friends, insectivorous plants are a bit interesting. So I have a box here. I have a box here. Imagine friends, this box as a picture plant, and this is the lid of the picture plant. I have an illustration here. This box is the picture plant as they given in the book. So this plant is this down part of the plant is picture plant, and this is the lid. And what happens here is I have an insect. So this insect settles on the lid of the picture plant, and slowly this insect falls into the plant, into this picture plant, and this lid immediately closes. So inside the picture plant you have some wires like structures where you can find inside it. You have some gases, you have some juices which secretes inside the plant of the picture, and after some time the lid opens and the insect which is there, it goes off, or it get digest inside the plant of the picture. So such type of plants are called as insectivorous plants. So the plants which eats only insects, so such type of plants are called as insectivorous plants, my dear friends. As you have the insect which goes in, it falls into this, and you have the lid immediately closes, and inside this you have some juices where it secretes. So these juices are called as digestive juices. So the juices where secretes, and the plant, or else the plant which is there, right? So the picture plant, inside this picture plant, this insect gets digested, and it gets some food to survive. So such type of plants are called as the insectivorous plants. So let us write down here, insectivorous insectivorous plants. Okay, so and the next one is Saffron Drops. So the best example for insectivorous plants is the picture plant, as I showed something, right? I showed a box, and you have the insect which goes in, as we did earlier. And the next one is Saffron Drops. So you have the Saffron Drops one. So let's say I have a piece of bread where I kept, let's say I have a bread. So let's keep this bread for 2 to 3 days outside. And you have some wires or wires-like structures which forms on the bread. Let's say I have a bread here. Let me draw here. I have a bread, and on the bread after 2 to 3 days, the bread bulges, and you have some wire-like structures which forms on this bread. So these wire-like structures are called as fungus, my dear friends. I think